The story of Saint Veronica is one wrapped in mystery, faith, and courage. She is remembered as a woman whose act of kindness in the face of cruelty became one of the most touching moments in the Passion of Christ. Though the scriptures do not record her name, tradition tells us she was present on the painful road to Calvary when Jesus carried the heavy burden of the cross. And in that moment of unbearable suffering, she chose compassion over fear. As the Roman soldiers dragged Jesus through the crowded streets, the crowd jeered, some mocking and others weeping. The air was filled with dust, anger, and despair. Jesus' face was torn with wounds, blood dripping into his eyes, sweat mingling with the pain of every step. His body weakened, yet he pressed forward under the weight of the cross. And then, from among the crowd, a woman stepped forward. Her name was Veronica. She was not a disciple counted among the 12, not a soldier or a ruler, but an ordinary woman with extraordinary courage. In her hands, she carried a veil, a simple cloth. And as the soldiers shouted and people cursed, Veronica dared to draw near to the condemned man. The risk was immense. Touching a criminal marked for execution could bring punishment, even death. But her heart was moved not by fear of men, but by love for God. She pushed through the guards, unafraid of their weapons and their threats, and she offered Jesus the veil. With tenderness, she wiped his blood-stained face, drying the sweat and clearing the dirt from his eyes. For a brief moment, amidst the hatred and noise of the crowd, there was an act of pure mercy. According to tradition, as Jesus looked upon her, he left upon the veil the imprint of his holy face. A miraculous image, not painted by human hands, but pressed upon the cloth by divine power. That veil, known through the ages as the Veil of Veronica, became a symbol of his suffering, his love, and the reward of compassion shown in the darkest of hours. The name Veronica itself is said to mean true image, from the Latin vera and icon. Fittingly, she is remembered as the bearer of the true likeness of Christ, the woman who carried not just a veil, but a testimony of mercy. That single act has lived through centuries, inspiring Christians across the world to step out in faith, even when it is dangerous, even when it is unpopular, and to show kindness to those most in need. The Church, in her wisdom, remembers this act in the Stations of the Cross, the devotion prayed by millions during Lent and Holy Week. At the 6th station, we recall Veronica wiping the face of Jesus. It is not just a memory, but a call, an invitation for every soul to imitate her courage, to see the suffering Christ in the faces of the poor, the sick, the abandoned, and to act with compassion. For every time we show mercy to the least of our brothers and sisters, we wipe the suffering face of Jesus. Over the centuries, the veil itself became an object of veneration. Legends say it was preserved and kept in Rome, displayed to the faithful as a relic. Pilgrims traveled far to glimpse it, to gaze upon the sacred image of Christ's face. Whether the physical cloth survives or not, what remains undeniable is the truth of Veronica's gesture. Her story does not depend on relics, but on the eternal witness of mercy in action. Veronica reminds us that sainthood does not always come through great miracles or mighty deeds, but through small acts of love carried out with great courage. When the world chose violence, she chose tenderness. When others mocked, she showed honor. When fear held back the crowd, she moved forward in faith. And in return, she received a blessing greater than she could have imagined, the living image of Christ imprinted upon her veil and upon her soul. Her story continues to speak today. It challenges us. When we see suffering around us, do we shrink back in fear, or do we step forward in compassion? Do we dare to risk our comfort, our safety, even our reputation, for the sake of helping another? Saint Veronica's legacy whispers to us that it is in those moments of mercy that we most clearly see the face of God. Even though much of her life after that moment remains shrouded in mystery, tradition holds that Veronica continued to live in faith, treasuring the memory of that encounter. Some legends say she carried the veil to Rome, others that she shared it with the early Christians as a testimony of hope. Whether hidden in obscurity or known among the faithful, her heart was forever changed by that day on the road to Calvary. And so, Veronica stands as a symbol for all who dare to act when others remain silent. Her courage teaches us that no act of love is wasted. Her kindness shows us that even in the darkest hour of human history, when the Son of God walked toward his death, love still broke through. That love, though expressed in something as simple as wiping a face, continues to echo through the centuries. Today, the Church honors her not with loud proclamations in the scriptures, but with a quiet, enduring memory in the prayers of the faithful. She may not have written books, preached sermons, or led armies, but she lived the gospel in a single act of compassion. And that, perhaps, is her greatest sermon. So, when we remember Saint Veronica, let us not only admire her bravery, but imitate her spirit. Let us recognize Christ in the faces of the hungry, the lonely, the forgotten, and show them mercy. For when we do, we too hold in our hearts the true image of Christ. Saint Veronica, pray for us, that in our lives we may have the same courage, the same love, and the same faith to see Jesus in those who suffer and to respond without hesitation. And if you love stories like this, faithful, powerful, and inspiring, do well to subscribe, like, and comment. Share your thoughts with us and join this journey of uncovering the hidden treasures of faith.